Right now, as you're watching this, the most powerful naval strike force on the planet is sitting within attack range of the Iranian regime. The USS Abraham Lincoln and its guided missile destroyers have entered Middle Eastern waters. U.S. Central Command has now confirmed it. This is not a routine patrol. This is This is not a training exercise. This is the largest American naval presence in the region in months, and the timing is no accident. President Trump says the fleet is bigger than the one he positioned around Venezuela, so what is Washington preparing for, and why now? Well, the answer might be closer than you think. Now, here's why it matters to every single one of you watching. If this situation escalates, we're not talking about some distant regional skirmish. We're talking about oil prices through the roof overnight. We're talking about your gas hitting levels you haven't seen in years. We're talking about a potential military conflict with a regime that spent decades building proxy armies across the Middle East. The Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq, all of them take orders from Tehran. All of them have already attacked American assets, and all of them are watching what happens next. This is not hypothetical anymore. The carrier is there, the strike group is armed, and the administration is clearly positioning for options that go far beyond diplomacy. Your wallet, your safety, and potentially American lives are now on the line. Speaking of protecting your family's future, let me tell you about today's sponsor. If you are over 40 and you're planning to retire someday, the window to protect what you have built may be smaller than you realize. And here's a question most people never ask. Is your portfolio built for what's coming next? Many investors in their 40s and 50s discover they have little to no exposure to precious metals. That means their savings are largely tied to markets, policies, and paper assets, with very little protection if conditions change. As retirement moves from someday to on the horizon, protecting what you've already built becomes just as important as growing it. And that is where Noble Gold Investments comes in, helping investors reduce risk by adding physical gold to their portfolio. So right now might be a smart time to talk with Noble Gold Investments. No pressure sales, no gimmicks, just clear answers and a strategy built around your goals. Visit nextnewsgold.com and build your portfolio for the long term. That is nextnewsgold.com. Now back to this explosive situation in the Persian Gulf. Yes, here's where it gets even more intense. President Trump has now made a statement that changes the calculus entirely. He says the American fleet positioned near Iran is larger than the one we have surrounding Venezuela. Think about that. This is not a token show of force. This is the biggest naval deployment to the region in months. U.S. Central Command released images of sailors aboard the Lincoln performing what they call routine maintenance, but the timing tells a very different story. The carrier is now sailing through the Indian Ocean, fully armed with guided missile destroyers, flanking it on all sides. Sean Fuchs posted simply, "Godspeed to Iran." The message from Washington is unmistakable. American power is in position, and the world is watching to see what happens next. This from RT Brazil. Trump says the American fleet positioned near Iran is larger than the one surrounding Venezuela, Pentagon confirming it. The Pentagon confirmed that it maintains deployed the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln along with a strike group in the vicinity of Iran. This is setting the stage. President Trump's massive flex of naval power. Middle East Observer, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, publishes a very close video of the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln with a quote, "There is no benefit to hiding. We know where you are, and our suicide drones can reach you before your planes take off." Now, note this is not recent footage. However, you can see it right here. Surveillance footage shows a drone overhead, American aircraft carrier in the Persian Gulf. Images of warplanes and helicopters on the deck, other military equipment as well. The video was released on Wednesday. Didn't specify the date of the operation itself. And of course, a missile going in to shoot it. Precision attacks by the core kamikaze drones. Well, if you ask me, those are like paper clips. You think that those things scare our fleet? I don't think so. The footage highlights Iran's advanced drone technology. Well, good luck with that. CENTCOM commander warns about Iranian drones. CENTCOM has admitted, they state here, the use of drones by Iran has stripped the U.S. of its air superiority. How is that even possible? The first time since the Korean War we are operating without complete air superiority. That's what he acknowledged on Tuesday. Yeah, sounds like that guy needs a couple of his stars removed. But of course, Iran is watching, but they are sending a direct message. Iran Revolutionary Guard commander says regime has finger on the trigger as U.S. warships head towards the Middle East. Here's the headline. Iranian Revolutionary Guard warns fingers on the trigger. I'm not sure how many camels you can launch at one time, but I'm sure it's quite a few. The rhetoric escalating fast from the surveillance to Revolutionary Guards. USS Abraham Lincoln has arrived in the Middle East near Iran, according to Israeli media. More footage of the USS Abraham Lincoln sailing there. A beautiful vessel, as you can see. And if that was off the coast of my nation, I think I would be a little bit nervous. So Iran can, they can put out all the propaganda videos they want of their drones, the drone technology that they stole from us after one of ours crashed, I should point out. But I'm quite sure that there's enough air superiority on that ship to secure the airspace. So, listen, I'm no general in the military, but for one of our own to make that kind of a statement it's pretty ridiculous. The Lincoln has actually arrived, turning threats into a real proximity. Caroline Levitt, the unstoppable USS Abraham Lincoln, just rolled into the Arabian Sea, fully armed to the teeth and primed to unleash hell. Do you back the U.S., UK, Israel helping Iranians topple Khomeini's regime?
The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group has reached the Arabian Sea and is currently positioned near the Gulf of Oman, which is very close to Iran. From this position, fighter jets can take off from the aircraft carrier and carry out bombing missions against Iran at any time. In addition to this, the United States has delivered advanced air defense systems and other military equipment to all its bases across the Middle East. The Carrier Strike Group has been deployed close to Iran specifically for this reason, to conduct airstrikes if required. A Carrier Strike Group typically consists of 6 to 8 ships. This includes one aircraft carrier, which carries around 70 fighter jets and support aircraft. This is followed by 2 to 3 guided missile destroyers, mainly Arleigh-Burke-class destroyers, which are used for air defense as well as cruise missile attacks. If the United States launches an attack on Iran, Tomahawk cruise missiles would likely be fired from these Arleigh-Burke-class destroyers. The strike group also includes one guided missile cruiser, usually a Ticonderoga-class cruiser. Its primary role is to intercept and neutralize incoming enemy missiles, and it plays a key role in protecting the aircraft carrier. In addition, the Carrier Strike Group includes one nuclear-powered attack submarine, which is also capable of launching Tomahawk cruise missiles. Finally, there is one supply or logistics ship, responsible for providing fuel, weapons, and other essential supplies to the combat ships. This Carrier Strike Group has been deployed by the United States specifically for a potential attack on Iran and is currently awaiting an order from Donald Trump.
Wow. That's how close we are right now, guys, to going to war against Iran. This is the raw firepower we're talking about, a floating fortress loaded for bear in hostile waters. U.S. Central Command says the Abraham Lincoln has arrived in the Middle East to promote regional security and stability. The official statement does contrast sharply with the aggressive reality that is unfolding on the ground. Entering the Middle East, as it enters the Indian Ocean, the Islamic Republic is responding with threats. The Revolutionary Guard has a finger on the trigger.
Fox News alert with an American buildup in the Middle East amid rising tensions with Iran. The USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier strike group has entered CENTCOM waters in the Indian Ocean, and the Islamic Republic is responding with threats. It says its Revolutionary Guard is more ready than ever, finger on the trigger to execute the orders and directives of the commander-in-chief. So General Jack King.
Finger on the trigger. I wonder how much that finger is going to be worth. The Revolutionary Guard's threats getting more specific. They're ready to execute the orders as American steel enters their backyard. Godspeed to Iran, says Sean Fucht. Godspeed to Iran? Wow. Even as tensions peak, we're getting reactions from unexpected voices weighing in on the powder keg. U.S. Central Command. Sailors aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln perform routine maintenance as the aircraft carrier sails in the Indian Ocean. It's currently deployed to the Middle East to promote regional security and stability. There's one of our brave sailors there. The Pentagon's trying to project calm professionalism while the region holds its breath. USS Abraham Lincoln is a 1,092-foot nuclear-powered supercarrier, a floating city of war, carrying 70 combat aircraft powered by 2 nuclear reactors and capable of operating 20 years without refueling. That is insane. Look at that thing. If that thing was in my backyard, I would be freaking out. And that's just one of our boys right there. There's the rest of the fleet. The vessels. Moving right along the specs. It's not just a ship. It is a nuclear-powered city of destruction in Iran's backyard. In Iran, they state here that Islam killed 43,000 Iranians, blinded 10,000, injured 350,000 in 48 hours. USS Abraham Lincoln has arrived to save Iranian protesters from Islamic terrorist Khomeini. Latest from Iran, 43,000 killed, 110 blinded, 350,000 wounded. The stakes have exploded from naval posturing to reports of potential violence and missile threats. A real possibility of an attempted missile launch from Iran towards the American aircraft carrier, which is operating in the region, according to Western intelligence sources. Imminent attacks on the horizon, possibilities as Trump could declare total war. Sputnik Indonesia says Trump calls for major fleet heading to Iran. Iran responds, it will become total war. President Trump stated that America is now preparing for a major naval fleet, including the aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln, moving into the region. So these are the footsteps of war, my friends. Call it what you want, stabilizing the region or not. The fact is the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group has arrived in the Middle East to promote what the Pentagon calls regional security and stability. But everybody knows what this really is. America's carrier, guns, cruise missiles, combat aircraft now locked and loaded within striking distance of Iranian territory. And President Trump has made clear any threat to American interests will be met with overwhelming force. Now, we haven't seen a show of naval strength like this in years. The carriers are in position, the destroyers are ready, and the United States just sent a message that cannot be ignored. This is the moment where American strength takes center stage. Now, for years, we've talked about Iranian aggression, their proxies, their nuclear ambitions, and now an American carrier strike group sits within their reach. And the message from Washington could not be clearer. The United States is done playing defense. And this matters because what happens in those waters doesn't stay there. It comes home in gas prices, military deployments, and the safety of Americans abroad, the stability of markets. What about sleeper cells? They may be embedded within the United States that came across the border during Joe Biden's administration. So President Trump has positioned American power exactly where it needs to be. The question now is whether our enemies understand what that means. We're watching history unfold in real time. So should the U.S. take preemptive action against Iranian military targets if threats continue? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the chat right now. And if you want to wear your support for American strength, check out the Next News merch shop, linked in the description.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.